Hey, everybody, it's GW again. Before we get started, make sure you go down, subscribe, like, do whatever it is you got to do at the bottom of this to make sure that you see any new ones that I have that come out. Doing this, they show up on my podcast on Spotify or any other of your podcast carriers that you want to take a look at, or you can, of course, go to YouTube and you'll be able to see it there. But doing this today, I'm going to talk about the Olympics. The Olympics are one of my favorite times of the year. It is one of those things that when I look back over my lifetime, my family, my mom, my dad, and I had many times that we would sit there and spend an entire day watching the Olympics. Or in those days, you couldn't watch it during the day; you'd watch the highlights at night. But it was always an exciting time for us, really enjoyable. And so I just, when I look at the Olympics, I go, wow. And you go opening ceremonies and closing ceremonies, there's such a different feeling between the two. The first one is so highly staged, and the last one is just a celebration of wow, this is almost over and we all survived. And this is wonderful. And all the athletes having such a good time with the time together that they have. This year's Olympics, though, they have several things that are memorable. One is the opening ceremonies with the boats going down the Seine, which was good. Although Mike Tirico did say that it was made it really hard on the commentators because they lost the chance to have something, a little vignette that they would talk about the flag bearers as they came down in front of the ones. And the flag bearer from, I forget which one, but who's appeared in the last 3 or 4 Olympics, so all oiled up and everything, and ripped. And so you just don't have that opportunity with that. But it was nice to watch the boats go down the river. Now I felt bad for the teams that ended up on the little boats. There were some of those boats out there that looked like they were, a 12-passenger little power boat, and so they had eight people standing there, and that was the team. So anyway, it was a good time. But the Olympics, lots of good memories. I mean, you have to remember Simone Biles. You have to, and the antics, not the right word, the activities that she did as she worked her way through the ceremony, through the gymnastic events. Just a wonderful athlete. Noah Lyles with the 100-meter thing. He hasn't done the 200 yet. He won his semi, but the closeness of that, that 4 or 6 1,000ths of a second, to have that unbelievable in a swimming race, which much more able to do the touch pad at the end of the pool, that would be a tie but somehow they were managed to show that he was actually the winner. Just an amazing thing. And you have the men's 10,000 K with the effort that was done by the American in there to be the first medalist in the 10,000 K since a long time, 1960s or something. You have the women's bicycle road race where the U.S. bicyclist, I'm sorry, I don't remember her name, but she with about 4,000 meters, well, clicks to go, she decided I'm gonna shoot out to the front, and the main body, the Parthenon, they let her go, and so they just watched her go farther and farther away, and they were not able to reel her in, and that is such an important race. I mean, the fact that she was able to do that and to be able to maintain that victory, and then have the victory by really quite a large margin, really a lot of fun. And watching Sweden's Delantis, I think his name is, the pole vaulter from Sweden, get the world's record. I mean, the height that these guys can do with a pole vault. I'm sure that there's lots of rules about how long the pole can be and everything else, but he looked like, if he had timed everything just exactly perfect, that he had another 4 or 5 inches left in him that he can continue to raise the bar up. Really is a lot of fun watching the Olympics. It just gravitates my mind just into this one spot there for a couple of weeks. Really enjoyed it. Also brings back a lot of memories from when I was a kid. Grew up in Davenport, Iowa. Lived across from a Vanderveer Park in Davenport, Iowa, and my neighborhood. We had a lot of young boys, in the neighborhood. So we tended to get out, and we were able to had enough kids there to have baseball games and football games and basketball games. And when the Olympics came around, when we were old enough, we suddenly said, well, that looks like fun. And, we had a couple of trees that were a good distance apart. So we had to figure out, okay, who was the fastest one? And then one of the kids had a stopwatch in the family. So we were able to go out there with the stopwatch. And that's when I learned that when you try to run, when you try to do something on a frequent and you want to get better, you can get better. Even though the first time we ran, we said, oh, this is, we're busting it. What we found is we found little ways to get a little bit better and a little bit better, a little bit better. And I don't remember, anything specific, but I do remember that it was probably in between those trees. It was probably a second or two difference in time by the time we finally finished. Not that day. We did this for a period of time. And we did not only that, but we were able to do the long jump. We were able to run distances. We ran all the way around the park, which was probably at least a mile, I would think. It's distances are weird when you're a kid, because your legs are little and it takes you a lot of steps. But at least a mile. And but we'd have this race all the way around, and we wouldn't race as a race. We'd race individually, and so it was just us against the clock. And that made it that when one kid came in and he was 30 seconds faster than everybody else, wasn't me, by the way, 30 seconds faster than everybody else, you're going, wow, that's pretty good. And we were actually feeling pretty good about ourselves until we went to junior high. And in junior high, they had a thing in the track meet or in the track season and in the PE classes where they wanted to see, okay, who do we got here that might be a good athlete that we want to have? And so, we were all, everybody in my grade school, we were all feeling our oats. We knew who was good, who wasn't good in our grade school. We figured that, we were at least as good as everybody else and, maybe a little bit better than some of them. And so it was a 600 yard run. And it was something that we did once or twice a year in PE class. And so the first time we went out there for the 600 yard run, we ran it in 2 or 3 heats. And so remember that I was in the first heat and I came in okay. I wasn't going to win. I was never a fast runner. But I knew I wasn't going to win, but I came in okay. I felt pretty good about myself. And then the second heat went, and it was, everybody was still about the same. Everybody was still about the same. And then the third heat came. I forget the guy's name. I really do. I'm sorry that I forget the guy's name, but he was just a gazelle. I mean, he had just the longest natural stride. He was so fast. It was just unbelievable how much faster than the rest of us he was. I mean, he must have been in that 600 yard race. He was probably 100 yards faster than anybody else in the race. Now, I will say that he then went on and he ran for the University of Iowa and ran track for the University of Iowa, cross country for the University of Iowa, went to the Olympic trials and missed making the Olympic team, probably the 1968, maybe the 1972 Olympic team by just an eyelash, but it was amazing to watch this guy make that run. And so, just so many good memories from the Olympics. And I just, even when you go to places where terrible things happen, like in the Munich Olympics in 1972, where you had the Israeli team that the team that was captured, and so many atrocities happened with that particular time, and it was really unfortunate with that. But when I lived in Europe for 3 years in the 70s, I really enjoyed going down to Munich and to see the Olympiad down there, and to go and to see the pool where Mark Spitz did his swimming, and it was just an exciting time. Just the Olympics has so many memories for me. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I certainly do. Please mark down below if you enjoyed it. Please answer the poll question that I have there. I'd love to find out that people were listening to this every now and then, and maybe perhaps even enjoying what I say. I'm just a guy. So help me out here, folks. Really appreciate it. Thanks a lot.